In the last video, we discussed that business development process is a simple 6-step process. However, to execute those 6 steps properly, we must comply and consider some important concepts. The process of business development starts with idea generation and ends with sustaining business. Today we will explore the first topic called idea generation process. So let us get started right after this short intro. Hello everyone. Do you know that every one of us humans get thousands of ideas every day? Most of these ideas are just random and repeating thoughts. But sometimes we get an idea so inspirational that it feels like it is a world changing idea. Now, when you get an idea like this, you have two options. Either you input time and energy to execute the idea, or ignore it and continue to do what you were doing before. Either option is not bad because everyone has different situations and mindset. But if you decide to ignore the idea will find a new outlet to manifest into this world. This means that if you decide to execute, you will be at the center of that world changing idea. Otherwise, it will be someone else. The world that we see around us is a product of different ideas that were executed by our ancestors and adopted by people living around. Our ancestors imagined wheel, electricity, machines, tools, big buildings, etc. Now suppose you decide you would like to execute your idea yourself and shape the future how you like it. Congratulations, you are an entrepreneur. You have stepped on a difficult path that only a few people have walked before you. Now, what should be the next step? You only have an idea, nothing more. Before we get carried away, let me break the momentum and tell you that what you have right now is just a thought, not an idea. Your thought still needs a lot of work before it can become an idea. But don't get disheartened, as getting the thought is the first step. From here, it is easy, and over the years, humans have developed a controlled process for getting from thought to an idea, which is defined later in this video. Something that is not defined is the creative process that takes place during the development of our first thought. A thought is only a random firing of neurons. If you get a unique thought, it means you are unique as well. For what we know so far about this creative process, we will explore in detail when we look inside the brain. Here we get into a microscopic world where tiny neurons are firing all the time. The takeaways from understanding this microscopic world is that a world-changing idea must stem from a problem. Because the solution we are creating must be accepted and adopted by people other than you alone. Hence, after discovering a problem, we must logically think if the problem is worth solving. Most of the times, you will find that the problem is worth solving because you are biased towards your own idea. Hence, to make sure that we don't find any major problems in executing the idea at a later stage, we must do some brainstorming. Brainstorming defines a definite path or long-term goals for executing your idea. How we reach those long-term goals is by developing small milestones in the middle to keep us on track. I like to call it mental roadmap. It is possible that you make one plan and stick to it until you reach your long-term goal. More often than not, you might come across a difficult problem that can halt the progress. Hence, we do some critical thinking where we define multiple plans to reach our long-term goal. Now, the idea generation process is a creative process that is usually focused on developing a product and or process. Due to this focus on product and process development, idea generation is very similar to double diamond model of product design. Hence, I find it easier to explain the nature and process of idea generation in relation to the double diamond model. So these are the steps and topics that lead the idea generation process from a thought to an idea. Inside the brain, double diamond model, creative thinking, problem, logical thinking, brainstorming, mental roadmap, critical thinking, product, and process. If you like to learn more about these topics before we get a chance to make videos for them, all these buttons on this image will navigate you to the respective blogs. Next, we'll look inside the human brain and understand what happens inside the human brain when we get a thought or an idea. To stay connected and catch all the next videos, subscribe and follow me on YouTube, Pinterest, and other social media platforms. All the links are given in the description below. Until then, learn to be brilliant with Brilliant Supply Chain.